So looking at AMD over the longer term, they've done an excellent job in closing the gap between Intel and NVIDIA, right? Intel had a dominant lead in CPUs and AMD has closed that gap. NVIDIA had the dominant lead in gaming GPUs and AMD had closed that gap also. AMD is working towards closing the gap with NVIDIA in the data centers optimized for AI. It's making progress there, but it's still very, very behind. It hasn't made similar progress in that category as it has in CPUs and GPUs. Overall, its revenue has increased significantly from $4 billion in 2015 all the way up to $29.6 billion in the most recent trailing 12-month period. This deal with NVIDIA and Intel could potentially chip away at some of the progress AMD has made in these critically important categories, but that remains to be seen just yet in how this relationship between NVIDIA and Intel will come together, the products that will come out, and how that'll impact AMD's market share in its critically important categories. It could be that by the time NVIDIA and Intel start releasing products for that category that competes with AMD, that AMD will make meaningful gains in the data center market optimized for AI, which could more than offset the losses in its other categories where NVIDIA and Intel will make gains. That all remains to be seen. Very speculative at this point, but to be sure, the increase in competition was not good news for AMD if it does end up resulting in products that go into markets where AMD was making great progress. So AMD is now trading at a forward price to earnings of 31.7, which I think is undervalued. I think for a business in its magnitude, in its category, performing as well as AMD has performed, and the progress that AMD has demonstrated in the past in making up for the gaps in market share in critically important categories, I think this is an undervaluation. However, it's also trading at almost the same price as NVIDIA stock. So looking at my discounted cash flow valuation for AMD, which calculates a fair value for the stock, I just updated this today. The intrinsic value per share I have at $150 for AMD. Current market price is $161. So accounting for a margin of safety, AMD stock looks fairly valued on my DCF basis and then undervalued on the forward PE basis. So overall, I can say it's slightly undervalued. So I have this stock rated as a buy and I updated that recommendation today.
Click the link below to watch the full video.